It looks like Vivell and Wilcox are set to be very busy at Manchester United over the next few months as the January transfer window approaches. Already, they've got a deal done for Diego Leon, who will join in the summer, but they want to get some first team signings done and do some business in January if the right options are available. They're also looking to offload players to potentially raise more funds for January deals. Now, Manchester United have been linked to players like Joao Pedro, but that would only be realistic in the summer, but we will give you the latest news on him. Cunha. But players like Kerkez, their left wing back, we know that United are interested in potentially doing a January move. There is a few other transfer links going about, two particularly left backs, and United looking at midfielders, and of course busy in the South American market because Diego Leon might not be the only young addition coming in to United. Reports have outlined the real reason why a Manchester United star was kicked out, which is due to lack of effort in training. And Rene Hake speaks out about some of the player problems, aka certain players having higher IQs than others. So, hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to your 10-minute Manchester United news roundup, where we're going to round up the transfer news, the latest news, and some older stories from Manchester United in 10 minutes, starting with the transfer news, then Vivell and Wilcox, what they're doing, some changes, what Amaranth's weaknesses, the South America plan, why Jadon Sancho was really kicked out, and the full story behind that, and a couple bits and bobs. So if you do enjoy today's video, please do go ahead and hit that like button, and if you are new and want to stay up to date with daily Manchester United content, please do subscribe down below if you're new and want to see more of my videos. I'm currently only 740 subscribers away from the big 100. But let's start with this first story saying Manchester United and Liverpool are interested in Brighton forward Joao Pedro, but other sources are saying Brighton would want 100 million. Now, I think Joao Pedro will go in around the 60 to 70 million mark, which still may be a bit expensive for us because he does pick up a few injuries here and there, but he's an unbelievably talented player. I can see why Liverpool would want him or Cunha. I can absolutely see why Manchester United would want him. He's an unbelievable player. I would love him at Manchester United. But we have to be realistic with fees and funds and everything like that. Obviously, nothing's going to happen in January, but maybe in the summer. I said Joao Pedro and Cunha are my favourite type of player profile right now because they're an attacking midfielder, which is what Amarin wants, but they're built like a number 9 because they've got the pace, the power, but they've also got the ball-carrying, dribbling ability and technical ability of a smaller player that could play on the wing. They could play anywhere in the front four, which means that Tenro and Amarin system, because they could play wing, they can play 10, they can play striker, they'd be really suited to it because they've got the physical ability of the 9, but the technical ability of a winger, but they're actually an attacking midfielder because of the technical ability and everything combined. And I think the versatility to play in the front line would be unbelievable. Joao Pedro or Cunha would be my dream. I mean, Morgan Rogers could also be another shout in that sort of category as well, but I just think there's a different level of technical ability to Joao Pedro and Cunha. I think if you could get them for £50 million, I'd do it. It depends if the budget would strike to 60. I think if Anthony and Rashford were both sold, and Man United made maybe 70 million out of selling Anthony and Rashford, I think you could stretch the budget to a Cunha type player. But I think they'd also need 2 attackers if that was the case, being totally honest. But I would love to see this still happen. Let's move on to some more news. So the Muppeteers said this in their YouTube live stream, and the United Red Report has gone and summarised what United Muppeteers have told us in terms of new information in the latest live stream. So big up United Red Report. They always summarise a lot of the news that's come out or which videos and summarise it. So definitely one of the best accounts to follow on Twitter for United News. And he said Diego Leon will join in the summer. Under Wilcox/Vivell, signing a young and senior player in each position is a possible idea. Absolutely love that. Sekou Kone-Agate, Leon, maybe Kerkez. We're going to talk about that in a second. One of the reasons Ashworth left is because he was not ruthless enough. We've spoke about that multiple times. And Wilcox has been targeting young players. Diego Leon isn't the only one. We've looked at Naipan, we've looked at Anselmo, we've looked at Chris Rigg. We've looked at numerous players and a couple other players over in South America that, to be honest, I've not really heard of and probably forgot their names. But they've been doing work. It was said that Ineos have been incredibly impressed with Jason Wilcox. Apparently, he's been really busy, and he was actually the one getting the Diego Leon deal over the line. They've also been impressed by Vivell's maybe talent IQ abroad. They think Kerkez could be available for 30 to 35 million, and I think right now, and I wouldn't have said this in the summer, when we were talking about Kerkez being 35 million in the summer, I said that's a bit of a risk. Let's see how he does next season. I liked him at AZ. I thought he was quite good. But I've watched probably 5 Bournemouth games this season, and particularly the Man City and Tottenham game, Kerkez was the stand-up player, getting up and down that flank, athletic. And I just think right now, Diego Dalot does not suit the left wing-back role. Luke Shaw and Malacia, let's not rely on them. I think I would spend 30 million on Kerkez in January because we're not going to get Alphonso Davies. It's Kerkez, it's Aït-Nouri, it's Robinson, it's Dorgu. In terms of age, youth and athleticism, it's Dorgu or Kerkez for me. I think Robinson's more suited to a back 4. I would probably go for Kerkez. That's what I think. Apparently, Branthwaite is independent from Ashworth. There was rumours that we were only looking at Branthwaite because Ashworth wanted him. Ashworth wanted him and Euro, not De Ligt and Euro, and Ashworth didn't want Xerxes. We know that. But United are still interested in Branthwaite. But I think because he's so physically dominant, and I think that's what we lack in Lucha, I can see where they're looking at Branthwaite, but only for the right price. I don't want to spend more than 50 million on Branthwaite, and United have been interested in Branthwaite for a while. I think we'll go back in from next year. But talking of United's South America plan, this is what United Muppeteers tweeted back in July when Vivell was announced. Vivell starting as Director of Global Talent, emphasis by Ineos coming in on picking up players from across the globe. We've talked about a few from South America, such as Anselmo. Hopefully, this is the first concrete step in the following through on that focus. So, obviously, this was said, 5 months ago, and since then, we've gone and signed a player from South America. Bringing Vivell in, we've got Kone was brilliant in the World Cup from Africa. We've gone and got Diego Leon, one of the highest-rated defenders in South America. This is something that Ineos want to do that I don't think United have done in years. They want to get experienced players, but if they can get some youth players, 3-4 million gems, they'll do it. Because even if those players don't make it at United, you've spent 3 million on them. We might sell them for 10 million, and they might have a decent career like Girona or somewhere. You just don't know. But what are Man United's problems and what are Manchester United looking to address? Amrin apparently feels that the attack lacks quality and some of the players are not up to the level. He thinks left wing back is needed due to fitness and Delô probably not suiting the role. Well, I added that bit at the end. Physicality needed, particularly in midfield, and quicker defenders that can deal with transition, also more physical defenders. These are 4 areas that have been picked out by Amrin within a week of joining United, which I think Ineos will be looking to address in 2025. They won't be able to address all in January, but maybe midfield and left wing back. There's talk of them addressing in January. And one left wing back we've been consistently linked to is Miguel Gutierrez of Girona. Apparently, Girona have also given the player permission to speak to United. Now, this has come from Team Talk. They're not the most reliable source of information. Unless Fabrizio Romano or someone credible gets on this story, it's one to watch, but it's not the most credible source. So let's talk about a few other Manchester United stories coming about. So the real reason Sancho was kicked out, according to Central Devils, Sancho was allegedly putting in little to no effort in training sessions and was kicked out of training as a result. This is something that wasn't leaked to the media at the time and therefore not reported, which is fair. We know from, I think, who was the guy who was the striker coach? Benny McCarthy. That's it. He did an interview. And Ten Hag called out Sancho for not putting effort in training, and that's why he dropped Sancho. And he said that he called out Sancho in front of the whole squad, and Sancho thought that he was being targeted because he was called out in front of the whole squad. And then Sancho, because he's from the streets, apparently can't apologise because that's him admitting he was lazy or something like that. I think, to be honest, it was criminal that Anthony was playing over Sancho because we all knew Sancho was a better player. He had a good pre-season, and he ended Ten Hag's first season quite well. We all knew that. But I think there's no logical reason for Anthony to play over Sancho other than the fact that Anthony was better in training. And so I personally believe that he probably was, because that's what Benny McCarthy and other people said, he was really just got an absolute bollocking from Ten Hag for probably not putting the effort in training. Jadon Sancho thought he was scapegoated, felt that he was putting the effort in training. Ten Hag thought otherwise. Because I think, Sancho starting in that Arsenal game ahead of Anthony would have made a lot more sense. He was completely dropped because of lack of effort and this fallout with Ten Hag. But I think it's annoying what happened with Sancho because he's such a talented player, but he just wasn't good enough at United when he did play, and he didn't have the attitude to play for United. And I mean, it's a shame it didn't work out because, as I said, I think he's better than Anthony, and I think he would suit Amarin's system a lot more than Garnacho and Rashford because Amarin likes wingers that are better in more central areas, which is Ahmad and Sancho, rather than with wingers. But it is what it is, and we'll get 25 million from at least. And then last but not least, Rene Hake spoke out about Manchester United players and potentially some of the problems. He said he noticed a clear difference in Manchester between a top level and a lower level player. And he said it came down to football intelligence, seeing solutions, the ability to learn, but also in the mental aspect, wanting to execute something well and continuing to execute it well, even on the 36th attempt. With Casemiro, I sometimes thought he senses things. When it really matters, he has an antenna, he already feels what's going to happen on the field. I take this as him basically saying Casemiro is intelligent, he can read the game well, he knows what to do, but maybe there was a lack of intelligence in the Manchester United squad. And I think there is definitely a lack of intelligence in the Man United squad because I think even Amarin alluded to this, that the players are learning and they've got to learn to do this and that and make better decisions. He can't coach the decision making and, Amarin's teaching the system, but then they're not doing the basic movement off the ball. I think some of it is a learning curve for United players, 100%. But listen, people, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.